Okay, am I good? Don't mind me, folks. I'm just making sure nothing goes awry with it because, you know, I tried this last week and I kept getting errors, but, so far, so good. Yay. Uh, I'll just wait a few moments before getting started with this, and that reminds me. Hey guys, do you miss me? Always good to have a glass of water. I always forget that. Gotta keep myself hydrated for the summer heat, as it's mid 90s, and last week it was around 100. There you go. So it's been about a minute or two, so we'll get started. After a sip. So, hey there, everyone. How are things going? This is Christopher, and I, on my own podcast of Two Autistic Eyes, I also a photographer, artist, and I just also like just discussing my own thoughts about things, hence Monday Thoughts right now. So I'm testing this out for both streaming on both Facebook and also on YouTube. So if you would like to join either one of those, and one of the thoughts that has been going through my mind lately, especially with everything going on with the whole everyone dealing with inflation, everyone dealing with debt of all kinds. I'm no exception to that, but at the same time, I just figure it's more or less okay. You're in this situation, and that's to look at myself and to see what are my own flaws and to where how I got to myself in my current situation today. Since I've definitely noticed that a lot of people, maybe you are not or not, depending on your own opinion, but it seems like a lot of people just love to go towards victimization and trying to blame someone else. Oh, it's this politician. Oh, it's the president. Oh, it's evil corporations and the ultra wealthy and all this other stuff. But eventually, somewhere down the line, possibly for a few, hopefully, that eventually they would just start looking in the mirror and start thinking, how did I get myself into this struggling situation? What what are my own bad habits that are just occurring both consciously and unconsciously? And most importantly, decide what exactly am I going to do about it. And and yeah, it's going to be quite a bit of a struggle, but at the same time, you just got to honor the struggle. I've been posting these little post-it notes on my bathroom mirror, kind of as a subtle reminder of simple things that help me keep on track. And I think part of the struggle with dealing with that kind of thing is just we keep expecting things to be a certain way based on everyone else's opinion rather than our own. Have you ever noticed that? Because we tend to think that the only way we can be happy is if we have this flashy, expensive item to show off to people who really in their minds could care less, to be perfectly honest. And then there's we gotta have this flashy vacation in order to show off on Instagram, which kind of, yeah, I was kind of guilty with that a little bit when I wanted to travel more, but Well, half and half, because I really wanted to show that someone on the autistic spectrum might like me could actually do something like that, where we usually expect them to expect people who are on the autistic spectrum to, just hide out, which I did do early on because I didn't really know any better, and I wasn't really that open to really pushing myself because of all the different factors that convinced me that I was never going to be anything more than that. And the biggest culprit to that is technically myself for even accepting such a thing because I didn't know any better, and had a bunch of had a number of influences around me that kind of pushed that kind of agenda on me that I unknowingly accepted. But at the same time, it is what it is. I can't go back and really change that. So the thing I have to think of is that this struggle I'm dealing with is, something I caused to myself, and best to just see it as it is and learn to accept that this is the situation you are in right now instead of trying to resist it with whatever unconscious habit you use to try to avoid any kind of stress or suffering. And and eventually just see that eventually get to a point like I did where you just see life simply as it is, you know, and it's not the events that necessarily that are causing a suffering because events are just events. It's our attachment to how thing, things simply are and our need to either label it as holy or unholy or good or evil and all this other stuff that and just this resistance in the mind that really causes us suffering in the end, not the events themselves, but how we react to them and perceive them and label them. And you just have to eventually get to terms with learning to accept these type of challenges in life. And I have my own challenges, but you know what? These are with being on the spectrum and having to deal with sensory overload at work. But it's just a special challenge for me to really just see what kind of person I can evolve next into. Kind of like how a caterpillar goes through its stages to become a butterfly, or going from a seed to a giant, strong oak tree. There's going to be a very small eventual progress over time. That there's no just jumping from one perceived location to another. Excuse me. So getting that so yeah, you know, and you just have to honor this. You should just view your struggle as more of a just be able to honor it as another opportunity of growth out of a great number of them that you're just going to face in your life when it comes to perceiving that and and just learn to accept things as they are, but not to the point where you're thinking of just giving up. There's a difference between acceptance and giving up. Acceptance is just seeing it as it is, yet at the same time, you are continuing regardless, just to turn that page towards the next point in the chapter to see where it goes, because you never know. So that's mainly my discussion for today, actually. And I want to thank those that either watching it live now or watching replay. In fact, hashtag live if you're watching it live, hashtag replay if you're watching a replay of this. And let me can't post comments. Yeah, I'm trying to familiarize myself with StreamYard again because it's been a while and they definitely been through a bunch of updates. But you know what? Honor the struggle, honor the suck, as I know a few people would say. And, just leave down in the comments, your own thoughts on your own struggles in life and how you plan on facing them if you're open to discussing it, unless it's private, then, and I think I'll leave this as the last comment to say that I guess what really keeps me persevering, which is one of my 5 core principles, right? That I work to embody in my life. Perseverance is just at times where I feel like I want to give up, which was definitely a lot more in the past and now, even though it still sometimes happens, that I just want to just throw in the towel. My curiosity gets the best of me, and where I think, what happens if I do continue? How exactly would the chapter unfold then? And I'm just so curious about that, whether it be at a very slow pace and very stubborn about turning that page, or if I just flip it and do it instantly. Eventually, I just do it because I just look forward to how I could possibly grow. And that's what it feels like it gives my life a little bit more of a meaning, just to discover different ways that I can grow and really circumvent expectations of those that are on this autism spectrum and their own expectations of what we can and can't do. I eventually just got to a point where I got tired of not only other people dictating to me, but my own mind dictating to me. So, yeah, those are my closing thoughts. Thank you again for joining me. Hashtag live if watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. And again, this is Christopher. Social media at the bottom. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at CD Casting Creates. And see you next week with another topic on hand, whichever I choose to be. I'm just picking a topic that comes to mind at the moment. So anyway, thanks again and check you out later.